Emily, I'll go with you.
Like one of you and the girls have to cut the apples. So just make sure.
I nominate Emily.
How do we cut it?
No, we're going to show you stuff.
Did we start? Is there anyone else upset?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so you're probably wondering why there's an apple in front of you. And the apple is for our activity, and the apple represents planet Earth. Oceans. Only 12% of the food we eat comes from oceans. Now I want you to cut the apple into 4 equal pieces and put away 3 of them.
Put away 3 of them?
Yeah, put them aside.
Don't throw it, just put them aside.
Gotta be exactly.
I want to cut the table.
Help you?
No, you're not.
Go. That was faster. There you go. Cutting one by one.
Please be careful.
One by one.
Oh, I was trying to turn it off.
Let me go. Lower.
Alright guys, while you're doing it, we're going to show you how is the final.
Okay, these 3 pieces represent Earth's oceans, and only 12% from our comes from oceans.
So put 3 pieces on the side.
Put them aside, you'll be able to eat on it.
These 3 pieces represent apples. 4 pieces are the oceans.
Now I want you to cut this piece of the apple, the 1/4, in half.
No, this way, like this.
Let's do long ones. No, do. Let me just do it together.
You're freshman?
That one piece the 1/2 you cut is land that is unsuitable for farming, like land that is too cold or too hot or too high. I want you to cut 3/4 of this piece. What piece you have left?
3/4. Long ways, try long ways.
It's pretty hard.
This another 4 is not equal to that 4 You know this way.
Like in 4 jumps.
You take a sphere and take it step by step, turn it into 2 spheres the same size.
Okay, those 3/4 you cut out represent land that is too poor for farming, like land near man-made material, roads, cities, and buildings. This piece of the apple represents all the arable land we have on Earth. Now imagine, out of the whole apple, you can only eat this. Now I want you to peel off the skin of the apple.
The biggest one?
Yeah.
The biggest one.
No, the piece that remains.
The smallest.
The remaining
The 1/4. The 1/4.
The remaining half.
No, that one. That one.
The remaining
No,
half.
you need to do the 1/4, which is the arable
The
land.
other half.
No, not the other. If that's what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of just the 1/4.
Okay, this piece of skin represents the thin topsoil, the layer we have for food production. Now I want you to rip off 1/5 of the skin.
Yeah, no, this is wrong.
That 1/5 represents the arable land we lost from 1985 to 2000.
So please hold the piece up.
The remaining
The
piece?
remaining.
The remaining.
The remaining piece.
The 4/5 of the peel?
The
Okay, so we do it.
Is that big or small? Compared to the whole apple?
Okay, and it takes 500 years to grow back 1 inch of topsoil. So in conclusion, we can consider topsoil a non-renewable resource.
Okay, so hello everyone. We are the reforestation group from Quito, Ecuador, from Gremio Cotopaxi. I'm Ali. This is Salim, Felipe, and Murphy.
So we started out as a research group, just researching about reforestation and climate change. And we found out that planting native trees or indigenous trees to your region is best for the soil.
Here's some native trees from our country with Pumamaki, Aliso, Nogal, Cholan, Arrayan, and Acasi.
So the first time we planted trees was in Ibarra, a place like 2 hours away from where we live. And here we planted like 20 trees for a school nearby. The second time we planted was in Pipo. And as you can see, it was like a big dry area with little vegetation. And once we were finished, we had planted almost 200 trees, and the soil was much more fertile and there was much more vegetation.
Okay, so 3 years ago, we went to the conference that was held in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And there we went with the idea of fixing climate change by planting trees. After that conference, we did a lot of work like organizing field trips with our middle school. And our first field trip was in Parque Metropolitano del Sur de Quito. And there we planted 2,000 trees, all native species. After that, we started our own greenhouse. And our greenhouse, the purpose was to plant our own native trees that we found from seeds that we found from trees already harvested in our campus. So there we could grow our own trees instead of buying them. Our decline. After building the greenhouse, we tried to start our growing our trees, but we didn't succeed. They kept on dying, and because of that, we lost a lot of group members. We lost our motivation, and we didn't accomplish much that year. And before our greenhouse, we were just a group of we would plant trees because everybody knows it's good somehow, but we didn't really understand how important it was.
So we were basically just planting a lot of trees. We planted like 2,000 and something trees, but at the end we didn't know why really we were doing it. So ecosystem loss. This spurred us into research, and this started us to focus in on our topic, and that was connecting reforestation to ecosystem loss, specifically land degradation.
Yeah, so we went back a little to our background. We not only knowing trees, we wanted to know what the foundation of making trees grow healthy. So this led to our essential question, which is what is land degradation and how can planting trees help prevent or fix it?
So here we were just basically planting trees. You could say we were above ground, and we decided to go underground to see what happens below the soil. So here's a table of contents, just so you know what's going on. First we'll talk about soil, and then we'll talk about agricultural practices and the good and the bad ones.
Alright, so first off, I'm going to talk a little about the soil components. First of all is organic matter. The second one is minerals, water, and air.
Air and water make 50% of a healthy soil, and the air and water in soil are determined by physical factors like rain, and the air in soil also depends on worms because of the holes in tunnels they make. An interesting fact also is that soil has a relationship to climate change because the tunnels and like things of air in soil can work as a storage house for greenhouse gases in soil, such as methane and carbon dioxide. And these guys are the byproducts of the soil microprocess, and this process has somehow has a relationship to climate change.
Alright, as I mentioned before, organic matter is a part of the soil components. it holds together and stabilizes up the soil, meaning that it's better for erosion. It doesn't erode as much. Second one, it aids crop growth by storing more minerals and nutrients inside the soil. The third one is it supplies and gives nutrition needed by the plant throughout all the organic matter that's in it. It prevents growth from it prevents the soil from deteriorating. For example, have you seen like dry soil? Normally that dry soil is part of erosion because it starts to get into a point that it's hard. This organic matter keeps it fresh and fertile for growing. It retains the carbon emissions. It also retains the carbon emissions from around. All right, so there are two types of minerals in the soil. One is primary, and the other one secondary. Secondary comes from the weathering of primary soil.
So land degradation. Land degradation is a reduction in the capacity of a land to provide ecosystem goods and services. So land degradation can be caused by many things, including monoculture, which makes the soil have a deprivation of nutrients. When there's only one plant, that plant takes certain nutrients and gives certain nutrients. But when you only have one plant, it only takes those nutrients and it only gives those nutrients, and that makes like a deprivation of nutrients in the soil.
Okay, so usually farmers don't leave any organic matter when they're collecting their crops, and because of that, they leave the soil harder, which makes plants more difficult to grow them. Farmers only plant one crop, which is called monoculture, and without diversity, there isn't much a cycle. There's just the same plants, just sucking the same nutrients over and over again, which becomes unhealthy over time.
As Pranali mentioned, monoculture is a practice of only planting one crop, meaning that for example, you only plant grapes, and that's all you sell. And this is like good for people who want to buy only one certain amount of like fruit because they care more about just one instead of all of them.
So chemical fertilizers. Most farmers use chemical fertilizers because they're good for the soil. Well, not good, but they make it more productive. And most chemical fertilizers only have these three nutrients, and these three are only 3 of the 30 odd nutrients that exist naturally in the soil.
All right. So salination is the increase of salt in the soil. It's caused by a lot of potassium fertilizer. So if you use potassium as a fertilizer, you're like affected most by salination. And also reduces the plant growth.
So livestock grazing. In Africa, there's a big problem regarding one of their traditions. Some African cultures, when they finish a big harvest, they let their livestock out in the field and they let them graze on the organic matter left over from the harvest. This is bad for many reasons, including that when you don't have organic matter on top of the soil, it's left vulnerable to wind and rain, and the rain and wind can cut away at the topsoil, leaving it less fertile. Also, when you don't have when you have less organic matter, organic matter has many benefits, and when you don't have it, it makes next year's harvest much more difficult.
Farming on sloping lands is not effective at all, since it's slope. It means like it's decreasing down. In this instance, so when it rains, it erodes all the rain and water, like makes all the soil go down, making an erosion throughout the planting field.
Erosion. Erosion is where there isn't any organic matter in the soil to hold the plants together, and that's when rain and water come in because they heal soil. But when your land is eroded, rain and air will cut away your land surface and leave you with even more eroded land than you had before. And after that happening, sediment from the eroded land will wash into rivers, and that can clog dams, damage coral reefs, and damage drinking water.
So now we're gonna do another activity. And once you get the card, you have to stand up and meet 5 new different people and write their names down on the card.
Five people who have the same crop?
It's all the same crop. Everyone has red. Crop.
If anyone needs like
Just stand up and walk around and the people you do not know.
yeah, can you please share with me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
They need cards over here.